Hi, this is Subramaniam Shankaran. Context of the organization, okay, is very important before we start any ISO, especially with respect to the 42001 or ISO 27001. We need to understand who are the players, okay? We need to understand, we say what is called the blast radius in security, right? Similarly, we need to understand the impact radius when we establish for the organization. To identify the impact radius, we need to establish the context of the organization. So there is something called the internal context and then external context. Establishing the context of the organization will also help you to identify the interested party, both internal interested party and the external interested party and their expectation. So before we actually start listing out the stakeholders of the interested party, okay, we need to understand the context of the organization. To establish the context of the organization, there are two proven methods that have been useful for so many decades, actually. Okay. So for the external one, it's called as PESTLE: political, economical, sociological, technological, legal, and then environmental. For the internal context, we do what is called as a SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities, and the threats. So SWOT is not only for this management system; it is generally for the business. Okay, but it is adaptive. Okay, so we have adopted that for a management system. So let's have a look at what this PESTLE and SWOT has got to do with ISO 42001. Done. Okay, PESTLE: political, economical, sociological, technical, legal, and then environmental. Okay, so technological, legal. Okay, they're very important. Okay, with the European Union AI Act going to go live from the 3rd of August, this particular 2026, it's very important for us to understand the legal landscape under which we are actually operating. Okay, what is political? Government stances on AI. Okay, upcoming regulations, all fine. But if you look at the classic case study, the Nayara, okay, the Indian, the petrochemical company, they had their access to Office 360 because of this geopolitical tensions. Okay, they were prevented from accessing their Office 365. Okay, because what's going on? Iran buying the Russian oil for India and all this nonsense, and then they had to go to the Delhi High Court to get it reinstated. The political situation will always lead to what is called the third party risk. The mythos fight. Okay, so a lot of Indians got in developing it, but unfortunately, let's say fortunately, okay, the American government said, okay, the Indians, or it should not be used outside the United States. That triggered a lot of initiatives, okay, in India also to create something which is equivalent to mythos, which we will anyway do. Okay, so political, economical, cost of AI talent. Okay, if you don't find the AI talent, okay, within your country, it's going to be very expensive. Okay, that's one of the reasons why the major companies are starting their global capability centers in India, where highly skilled talent is available for a reasonable price. Okay, and social public perception of AI, societal concerns regarding the privacy bias. Okay, in fact, the governance is more oriented towards the impact to the society. So there are three impacts that are listed in NIST RMF. One is impact to the organization, impact to the society, and impact to the people. So the bias, or it's otherwise called the inclusive engineering. So in fact, if you look at the for the AI officer, okay, which the if you look at the BCAI UK certified chief AI officer, we always discuss about the fate of the AI officer. Okay, fairness, accountability, transparency, and explainability. The fairness and transparency is both directly inclined, okay, towards the public. Okay, whenever you are accessing, when the public is a customer is accessing an AI application, we need to be transparent to the user, saying that you are interacting with an AI chat box or AI application. Next is the fairness. We should not have this outcome of or output of the AI application bias towards gender, okay, or race or demography, etc. We anyway say that, but explicitly, and for the governance on is actually okay. But practically, is it applicable or not? We don't know. Okay, every country is looking out for local talent to head that particular vehicle. Fair enough. Okay, their country, their own people want to do it. So explicitly, if you're going to say that I want only my own nationality people for the job, okay, so we don't consider that as a bias, okay, because it's their own country, their own citizens. Okay, so explicitly there are requirements like this. Okay, you need to develop the model, putting in the bias in place. That's what the customer wants. Okay, there are countries where you can fight it. There are countries where you cannot fight it. Okay, there's also a contextual with respect to the country. Technological, okay, pace of AI innovation. So we have gone with the AI agents, okay, and then we are now saying AI, agentic AI, blah blah blah, etc. And the amount of vulnerability. See, every single component in IT will introduce a vulnerability. In my chief AI officer class, I used to explain there are 7 layers of vulnerability. So vulnerability with respect to the AI layer, okay, the MITRE Atlas and the OWASP top 10, LLM vulnerability, ML vulnerability, NHA vulnerability, secure Google Secure AI framework, and then we'll get on to what is called as the adversarial machine learning from NIST. These are all known vulnerabilities. There are a lot of unknown vulnerabilities and new vulnerabilities coming in every day. Okay, so every single this will all be on the AI layer. Then comes on the web application layer, web application security consortium vulnerability, SANS top 25, OWASP top 10. Then the operating system, then the hardware, then the network, then the supply chain, and then the users. Okay, every layer, so wherever whichever layer is going to add on to the functionality, it will also have the vulnerability. Like every coin is going to have two sides. Legal, industry specific regulation. Okay, if you are going to be from healthcare and BFSI, definitely is a highly regulated industry. Okay, so there is going to be an legal binding that you need to actually do. Environmental, the natural calamities. Okay, there's also the energy consumption. Okay, I read somewhere the news that there's going to be at least 2 degrees of increase in the energy across the world. So energy consumption is going to go high. Okay, there are countries where we want to have a cloud data center in the locality. The electricity rate is actually going to go high. So a lot of fights and agitations are happening to say that why should we pay the higher bill? Okay, because somebody else has got a cloud data center close by. Okay, the AI data center close by. So this is also happening. With respect to the pistol, this is an example. SWOT, okay, strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats for the internal context. Okay, strength, in-house expertise is what you will actually have. So people, process, technology, data, and the model. Okay, these are the 5 things that we'll consider for AI. Okay, you might have the expertise internal, you might have the technology internal, the process guys internal, the data internal, and the model internal. These are all your strength. Because moment any of this is going to go to the external party, it's going to it's going to introduce what is called the third party risk. Okay, weakness, siloed data. That means the data are not connected to each other. They're all in a separate bucket. So you need to connect each other. So we have data lakes and data fabric, etc. This will help the organization to also avoid duplications. Okay, so it will be one single data on which the model is going to work. If it's going to be enterprise AI, then it's going to really help in a big way. That is what our objective is. AI is going to be, like a lifeline for all the departments within the organization. Opportunities, potential to gain competitive advantage by being AI certified. You can go for ISO 42001 if you're going to have a good consultant actually doing it. There's nothing like that. Okay, so he's going to help you because ISO 42001 is not just something that you will introduce on the fly. Okay, you need to integrate that with 27001 for information security, 27701 for privacy, 22301 for business continuity, 20K for ITSM. Okay, all maybe 9001 for quality environmental management system. So the ISO 42001 will not operate in a silo. Okay, if you're very serious about implementing 42001, we need to consider all the other standards. Otherwise, it's just for the sake of implementing, you're just implementing it. Okay, there's not going to be a very good benefit out of it. Next is the threats. Okay, risk of shadow AI. People might use an AI application which is not approved by the organization. Why does that actually happen? If the application that is approved by the organization is not good enough, okay, and people who are not able to, the employees who are not able to do their work properly, they will go to and some other tool, okay, to get it done. So this will create what is called a shadow AI. Maybe if the approval also takes a lot of time, people don't want to wait until the Center of Excellence or AI governance team is going to approve their request. They'll go for a shadow AI. Okay, these are situations in which the shadow AI might also happen. Now, just discussing on this particular part. See, recently, I was reading a news where Uber and Microsoft, okay, they said let's wind up on the AI part of it. Let's start doing with the manual coding, etc. One of the reason is it is for the Uber. It has eaten up the entire annual budget for AI informants. Okay, it has impacted very heavily. Okay, now surprisingly, when it came to Microsoft, I read that they were using the Cloud A code, okay, Anthropic Cloud A code. Okay, so it's better than the Microsoft LLM is what I read. Okay, I'm not because I'm like an the liability part of AI. I'm just telling what is there on the website. Okay, now so what I mean to say is it is, see, in the Microsoft case, this is not a shadow AI. This is a legitimate. The company knows that they are using Anthropic Cloud A code. Okay, anyway, so SWOT is for the internal and PESTLE is going to be for the external. Okay, why this combination is effective for the auditors? Completeness. When you do a PESTLE, when you do a SWOT, you have taken care of every single part of the organization. Okay, and connectivity. Okay, linked to the external pressures. Regulatory body is also going to be your external, the external influence for the organization. Okay, the governance, it transforms abstract requirement of the context into repeatable boardroom friendly process. Now, whenever you are establishing a contract, you have proven methodology to establish the contract using a PESTLE and then SWOT. Okay, so we are not beating around the bush or picking something randomly and putting it on the documentation. So the proven methodology has been established, and that is what is going to come as a documentation for you. From the context, you will get on to identification of the interested party and their expectation. Okay, so that's all from me. My name is Subramaniam Shankaran. If you're interested to join Certified Chief AI Officer Training or 42,000 lead implementer, mail us on training@itplus.org.uk. Subscribe to my channel for the regular news on AI, cybersecurity, and data protection. Cheers and bye bye.